Okay, everyone, let's go. This is the Blade Fusion 550. Here's a look at the manual. I went ahead and pulled the head out of the bag just to verify my own question, which was, is everything Loctited? And yes, it is. The spindle seems to have red Loctite on it. You will need probably 2 soldering irons or some sort of heat to get this apart if you do have a mishap and crash later on. Not really a big deal, but that's for safety purposes. So the head is together. The grips seem to have these blade arm essentially seem to have blue Loctite on them. I checked those, and you know, we have a nice tight head. It should not flop, so it doesn't flop. That's good, but it moves freely, and it'll get freer as we fly the helicopter. The bags are labeled, so I assume we're going to start with bag A and then work through the rest of the bags. There's not very many bags. Everything is pre-assembled, so we're just going to do the assembly. So essentially, I'm going to get into the first page here, and there's a table of contents. Tells you some information about what you'll need, type of servos, and then how the helicopter goes together and comes apart. You know, we're going to basically go through and put the frame together first, looks like, attach the landing gear, and then start assembling everything together. So we're just going to make some short clips basically on how to do this. Ethan Ader's already got a video on the unboxing and everything included, but I'm going to try to just make something short on top of that, and I'll show you how I do it and some of the things I did with my speed controller and stuff like that, and placement. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here's a look at the electronics we're going to put in. This is actually the Avion 120 amp brushless ESC. It's good for 6 to 12S. Comes wired for 12S. I turned it into 6S. You can see I just took one of the connectors off and bundled up the smart wire. And then basically I'm using the H6350 servos from Spectrum. They're 416 ounces at 0.06. And I'm using a 6360 tail servo. Anyway, that's the electronics. Using Icon 2, it's from HeliDirect. I'm using Spectrum. We're gonna fly it with my NX10 SE from Spectrum. I'm gonna show you a little mod I do basically for this Avion 120 speed control. It is 6S to 12S. As you can see here, we've got one lead coming off of it now. I have removed the other one, the series connector, and basically just left the smart lead going to the plug. If I was to use smart, this would still work. We're going to remove the fan. Don't need it. It's a 120. It's got a nice heat sink on it. It's going to be mounted under the battery tray. That's for center of gravity. For me, you'll see them in the back anyway on some people's helicopters, but not mine. Also, this is the RPM wire. We're going to take the RPM wire and we're going to combine it with this power wire here, and this is just BEC power, and I'm going to be using an Icon Flybarless system, so I'm just going to take this lead and put it into the other so that when I plug into my RPM port it gets power also. And what else? That's it. Basically labeled my wire with a blue piece of tape to show me that this is going to be the signal side, and then this will be the RPM wire now, along with BEC, so you don't get them mixed up. And now you have a lot smaller unit, and you can mount it with these tabs here on the bottom of your radio tray. You just get your X-Acto knife under there like that, and then pry that little piece of plastic up and pull that wire out. And you take that same wire and try to do it one-handed and just slide it in that hole, and then you're gonna stick it in that hole and make a new connector. And now you have a 2-wire system. 3 connectors. Come on, guys. We don't have many channels. This is much better. Okay, everyone, you're starting to see a helicopter now. The frame is assembling very fast. It's very simple. The screws are already in the parts. Essentially, you're going to see like screws like that are already in it. Just take the screws out and then reassemble it the way it goes. And then, so here in the manual, you'll see the breakdown schematics. Very, very simple. It's a great first build kit if you're just getting into bigger helicopters. Perfect first timer kit and expert level. I'm having a good time building it. I've been at this about 45 minutes and 1 Pepsi, so it's almost complete actually. I'm going to build the tail here and we'll start putting electronics in it. I'll show you beginner guys how to put in servos like a pro. We take the rubber out of there. If the rubber is installed sometimes on these servos and the little spacer things that go in there. Anyway, we take those rubbers out and you just take the servos here and get them. See how I have 2 screws started right there with the little washer type deal? You're gonna go like this, and with the camera here, if I can do it, you're just gonna slide it in. Now of course, I need 2 hands to do it. Anyway, hold on for the next shot. I'm gonna pull that back and then I'm gonna set it in there. Okay, so while it's loose, you'll notice that you'll have a little bit of play like this in here. What I do, and what everyone should do, is push down on the servo and get it to set on those 2 bottom screws there. And then that basically makes it flat. Then tighten them up. Get into here. Oh my gosh, it's hard to do one-handed. Then tighten it up. Then come up here to the top and tighten these, because now it's sitting on something flat and they're all the same. That's what you want to do, is basically make all the servos sit flat in the same area. So now the servo's nice and tight in there, and that's what you want. So you'll see that there's a little carbon washers go over there for the screws. That's that. Okay, so right now we're under the heli. This is how I mounted my speed controller. It's very tight, but it's doable. I actually used 1 screw on the tray and then a couple blobs of JB Weld just to hold the other tabs on. You have to bend your wires 90 degrees on the tip there for the motor wires so that they can connect. It's a special little loop down there. It's about the only way you can do it. I screamed a few times, but we got it in there. So I'll show you how the battery should mount here in the next clip. Okay, so here's a look with the battery on it. You can see I put my leads at the top and pull them down through so that the 2 loops can come together. This keeps your wires clean and out of the way. The canopy fits on. The battery's laying on its fat side so that it's sitting low. Doesn't have to, but it fits better that way. And here's the Icon 2 system. And those Spectrum servos. Here's a look at the new motor. And the new motor. We're looking like a helicopter now. I'm using Azure 560 blades just for fun. The red, white, and blue canopy. Looks good. Got the Spectrum servos in there. It's the new landing gear. Looks good. Okay guys, here's a quick lesson in setup. You're going to see my servo horns are at 90 degrees. My stick is at center. The follower arms on the helicopter swash plate are level. When this arm is level and that arm is level, that's what you want. That is perfect linear. So you make the length of your rods, so that the servo can remain 90 and the follower arm can remain 90. And then once you get this length, which is pretty correct in the box, they're really good lengths already, but you're going to want to verify with your caliper that they're all the same. once you get that measurement, and make those 3 lengths all the same. And then work up here to your top link. And the top link here keeps the blade flat. You want the blade flat at 90 degrees, or flat at center stick, which is 0 degrees. Center stick. All your movement, all your adjustments are going to be at center stick. And so when you go full positive, you've got, I put 14 degrees in mine, and when you go full negative, you got 14. You can see the follower arms travel linear. If they're going more up than they are down, you're probably wrong. So this does have a lot to do with how the helicopter flies and a perfect setup. So there's a note there for you. You guys were at the tail rotor. We just initiated the helicopter. You will see that that bottom blade, this is being the bottom, is in towards the boom. It's enough to kind of stick your pinky in between there. You need that 2 degrees pitch, 3 degrees. That keeps the helicopter wanting to put the nose right, because of the torque of the blade is going to go left. So there's your trick. And you also see that you're in the center of the shaft here with the yoke is 90 degrees. That's what you want, center of that shaft. It puts about 2 to 3 degrees right tail pitch. Here's another pro trick. This is how to tell if you're at center stick and 0 pitch. You're at center stick, and when I'm at center stick and pull the blades to the side of the helicopter, you will see that they are lined up. That is perfect tracking and perfect 0 pitch. That should help a lot of you out there. Okay, so the gauge is on the helicopter from the front. You'll see we're at 0 degrees. And I didn't just set the gauge, guys. You look at the top of the gauge. See how it's 90 degrees of that bag in the background, or the wall, or whatever. You're looking for it to be 90 on top of that gauge, guys. Then hit 0. Now, when I go through the motions on the stick, if I can reach it, there's 13.7 positive and 13.7 negative. And I got that pretty darn linear, and that's what you want. You want perfection in helicopters. Don't settle for it's okay or whatever. Go perfect. That's what makes a co-show, okay? So there's another little help for you guys, and the helicopter is ready for maiden.